This is in continuation with the previous episode where I was chatting with K-Lin. Enjoy part 2 of the conversation.
So a Lana-style Thai house traditionally would be made of wood, entirely wood.
Okay.
And it's usually a raised house.
Ah, okay. So it's on stilts.
On pillars.
On
pillars, not on
Okay.
stilts. Because
Okay.
we're not on water, so it's just on pillars.
Okay.
So that downstairs, when it's lifted up, firstly it's cool because of the breeze.
Right.
But it's also additional living space.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got it.
kind
Got
of.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
and then of course the arches and then the detailing, the
Right,
carvings,
right, right.
So that's what it
What a
essentially
Lana
means. A Lana Thai
house
style
is.
house
Okay,
means.
Okay.
So
coming back
yes,
to
so this house that popped up on this Property Guru Thailand thing
Yeah.
was exactly like this. So I just kind of like, okay, I'm going to get this house.
right.
And then when you open up, it's in Chiang Mai.
Okay.
So the next thing is just, in my head that, okay, I'm going to Chiang Mai. I'm
Right.
going to Chiang Mai. I'm going to Chiang Mai. And that's what I did. So 2013 was like in July. I flew here to see the house.
Right.
Fell in love with it. Knew
Right.
that it's a bit in the kampong areas
So
as well.
kampong for the listeners is village.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Rural,
Rural.
not really city or urban. So it's out of
Okay.
the city.
Yeah.
I don't hear a car when I'm there, hardly ever.
Wow. That's where I should have been talking to you.
That's true, but you will hear the roosters and the other
okay.
animals. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, so that was July, and then by, I don't know, September, October,
You were here.
I bought the house
Right.
and started coming here more often.
Okay.
So this was 2013, right? So the
Right.
2014 period, when I started visiting more often,
Yeah.
things started to crystallize a little bit clearer. I think there's just, I don't know, maybe God plants little signs along the way
Yeah,
to kind
yeah.
of give you the direction.
Yeah.
So one incident that struck me really, really deeply was when I took the kids here for a holiday.
Right.
So I called this house Ban Banana because we planted a lot of different varieties of bananas.
Okay.
And so it's on 70,000 square feet of land. So it's huge.
Yeah.
With a big natural pond and lots of space to run around.
Right.
Something
right.
I could never dream of
In
Singapore or
Yeah.
anywhere else,
Yeah,
right? So having said that, brought the kids here, and they were still at the age where they're just not hooked to their iPads and all that, so they would still roam a little bit. And then suddenly they were playing along on the grass.
Yeah.
Tristan's my son, my older son, and Trinity my daughter.
Okay.
So Trinity turns to Tristan, and I happened to be sitting there just watching them play, right? So,
Right.
hey, Coco, I didn't know grass feels like this. And that was like a rocket in my face. Because they were playing around barefooted, and they hardly do that in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
We are not the culture where you
Yeah.
play in the gardens,
Yeah,
have a picnic.
yeah.
And then suddenly just like was a slap in my face. Like, oh, my kids don't know what walking on grass feels like.
Right.
Staying on that trip as well, because kampong area,
Yeah.
you have insects.
Yeah. Yeah.
My son freaks out, freaks out.
Hmm.
And it's like, something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of hit me as well. I'm like, okay, we need to get out of Singapore. So the push just became stronger and stronger.
Right.
And then throughout the course, the other big reason of why Pakdang is around today
Yeah.
is that
Which is your restaurant.
the restaurant
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the social
the social
yes,
enterprise.
correct.
Yeah.
Is that with Facebook and social media.
Yeah.
Of course, I put up some pictures of Ban Banana and all that. And then these kids at the center who are now grown up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Started touching base with me, hey, you're because we're all in the north, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's meet up, and then I will ask, like, where's A, where's B, where's C, where's D?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then another shocking truth came back to me, like, they're all back in the rice fields.
Oh.
I'm like, hey, 18 years of work, because this one was
Yeah.
for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why? So the girls, when they are back in the villages,
Yeah.
next thing you know, they're pregnant and having babies.
Right.
One after another. So
Right.
the boys are just plowing the fields. And then I'm like, why? What happened to this whole exercise that, was like
So
more than 10
they
years,
haven't
right?
really
Close
been
to-
uplifted.
Yes,
Yeah.
see you through education, we thought
Yeah.
you're going to be taken
Yeah.
care of. And then
Yeah.
now you guys are back in the rice fields. Now, the strange thing was at the center, we had some naughty kids as with any group of kids,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So the naughty kids, we actually put them through a trade skill,
Okay.
like electrical,
Yeah.
plumbing,
Yeah.
that
yeah.
sort of thing, and
Yeah.
car repair.
Yeah.
And that group actually turned out fine. So if I could turn back the clock, then we shouldn't have sent any of them through university.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't doing them a favor because
Yeah.
that group with a trade skill, they actually turned out better. So
Because they became independent very quickly and they started.
they could find a job.
Find a job. Yeah.
It's a hard skill. A lot of them started having families with kids. They built their own houses. It's like, hey, that's the end result that we
Yeah.
want to see.
Yeah.
So what do we do with this group now? So that kept niggling at me as well. And then I figured, okay, since we got a house now, if I move here, it's the north, it's close to them.
Right.
If I set up some labor-intensive business,
Right.
we might be able to provide them with employment and also teach them some life skills.
Right. Right.
So two things popped up. It was either a factory, some, doing handicraft or wooden stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
or a restaurant.
Right.
And the restaurant kind of appealed to me a little bit more because
Right.
I can't see myself working in a factory.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I googled restaurant for sale in Chiang Mai.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 or 4 places popped up that I kind of liked. I zeroed it down to 3.
Okay.
This time I was still back. I was back in Singapore. It was my son's PSLE year, so I tried to be back there a little bit more.
Okay.
And then I remembered very distinctly. I flew down on Valentine's Day in the morning, looked at the 3 restaurants, stayed one night, and then flew back the next day. And out of the 3, when I walked into Pak Dang,
Right.
this was the original name as well. We took over
okay.
an existing restaurant.
Okay.
We walked into Pak Dang. So if you look at Pak Dang now, we only had this place, right? Like I was
Which is by the one which is
the lower
closest to the
platform
river.
and here.
Oh,
so
okay, not
where
the-
you were sitting closest to the river didn't
Is not,
exist.
okay.
That was just garden. On the left here was also just garden.
Okay.
So eventually year after, so we took the restaurant in May 2015.
Okay.
So we are 4 years
4
plus
years.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So eventually, business was good. Slowly we built a brand.
So then when you took over the restaurant, did you also take over the team?
When we took over the restaurant, we took over the team.
Yeah.
Not the owners, of course.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the owners were
yeah,
selling.
no, I mean
4
the
staff.
staff.
4
Okay,
staff.
4 staff, right. So the chef and
Just one cook.
one cook.
Yeah.
Okay.
One cook, one in the bar,
Okay.
like drinks guy,
yeah.
and then two waiters.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, and over the course, we expanded probably to a maximum of 30 odd staff.
Okay.
And the 2 other terraces that we extended.
Okay.
Yes. So,
So now the 4 staff that you took over from the previous owner, and now you have 30. So I understand that some of your staff working here are people that you've employed from
Yes.
the kids that you knew from
Yes.
the center,
Yes.
or so just tell us some.
yeah,
some
so
more
we had
about that.
a couple of kids, whoever wants to come from the center.
Yeah.
But ever since then, we have opened our doors
Okay.
to taking in underprivileged youths in general.
Okay.
So not just from the
from
center.
the center, but around.
Extended
Okay.
beyond that.
Okay.
Also to students.
Okay.
Because I found that students have a lot of trouble making ends meet.
Right.
Firstly, the parents can't support them.
Right.
Scholarships and bursaries are not something that's
Common.
common.
Yeah.
So they either end up just not going to school,
Yeah.
or if they go to school, they struggle because they need to work to finance themselves.
Right.
But then again, nobody wants to hire students
Right.
because they finish school at about 5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By the time they come to work, it's like, too late for some other places. They
Right.
can't do office jobs, of course.
Yeah.
And they also like, okay, exams, I need to take a week off, 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
A lot of employers
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I decided that we would also have this window for students.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
As well as to
You're
help
not
them.
open for lunch, right?
No, we're not open
Okay.
for lunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the second group. And then the third group now would be our at-risk youths.
At-risk youth.
Yes.
Okay.
So like ex-drug addicts,
Right.
Some people have done time in prison, you know.
Right.
So they come to us with a background.
Okay.
So we give them an opportunity
Okay.
so that, you know, they at least learn something.
Yeah.
And either we continue hiring them or somebody else would hire them.
Right.
Once they have a right skill.
Right.
And also with a job where they have to come and report to work every day.
So there's a routine and there's something to
It
look for.
keeps them on the
keeps them-
straight path rather than looking for something to do that, you know, may just... Yeah, so essentially that's the 3 groups of people that we hire. So
Okay.
we do have a turnaround. Some stay for a long time before they leave. Some stay for a short while before they either find that we are too strict.
Yeah.
Because of the people that we hire, we need to be strict. If not, I think everybody would run amok.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
30 odd people.
Yeah.
And you let one go
Yeah.
go loose. So
Yeah.
some can take it, some can't take it, some
Yeah.
like it, some don't like it, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I always explain to people, running a social enterprise is challenging because there's a big conflict between your social objective
Yeah.
of what you're trying to achieve
Yeah.
as well as your profit motive of running it as a business.
Right.
So you'll see, if I put on the business hat and run this purely as a business,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have this crowd here, right? In the
Yeah.
first place, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But that's, I guess, not your objective, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, but the thing about running the social bit as well is then you have to managing your cash flow and your profits is a very intricate process because it's not that straightforward anymore.
Right.
It's not black and white because
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
that social objective to manage.
Yeah.
So far, we've been lucky, so it's been all right. Except for this year, which has been a little bit quieter in general. But it's a whole of not just Chiang Mai, but a Thailand thing.
Okay.
I think just less tourists in general.
Okay.
Our main clientele is tourists.
Okay.
So we'll see how next year goes. But so far, so good.
And so you're kind of, have you reached a point in your life where you feel that this is it and I am going to, you know, so you're doing multiple things. One is that, you know, you're giving back. 2 is that you've not really been in the food business ever before.
Never.
And so it's a new learning for you,
Yes.
right? Because you have to make sure that, you know, you've got like clientele, that word of mouth, plus people who keep visiting Chiang Mai, keep coming back. And the third is, you know, the fact that it gives you some kind of peace in terms of, you know, also your kids have a sense of grounding because, you know, they may be going to an international school and all of that, but when they come back and they come to the restaurant, they see, you know, the people working with you are people that you're trying to uplift their lives in a certain way, right?
Yes.
So do you feel that, you know, you've kind of encompassed it all, or is there
I think this journey is going to be lifelong.
You're listening to a fusion of stories recounted for the first time ever by some fascinating people from across the globe with me, Payal, on this very unique and special podcast series, Melting Pot.
But the work that I do could change, I would say. So for now, it's this restaurant and with the youths, and our mission is changing lives.
Yeah.
So even if it's one life,
So can you give like one example of someone's life that you've touched, a youth who may have been a drug addict or whatever, and you've seen a sort of a journey in the positive direction, or you've seen a success with that youth, and then you can kind of tell yourself, okay, you know, I've actually changed this life.
yes. So we had 2 boys that came to us. They are no longer with us now. One's
Okay.
got drafted into the army,
Okay.
and the other one left us only quite recently. But so they have been with us quite long, maybe 3 years on.
Okay.
But so they came to us. According to them now, okay, I'm not very attuned to this, but they were here for the interview high on drugs, apparently.
Oh my God. Okay.
I couldn't tell.
You couldn't tell. Okay. Yeah.
Might just look tired or like dirty youths.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, they're like, did you know? Now they tell me these stories now. But so anyhow, we took them in. One of my main mottos is I don't ask them too much about their background when they're here.
Right.
I don't, it's very easy to judge somebody.
Yeah.
So if you don't ask, you just means I take everybody in as a clean canvas.
Right.
And then we start painting a new future for you.
Right.
I think that works for me well.
Right.
It works for others well as well and for themselves, right?
Right.
Nobody's labeling you, you come as a drug addict or you come as some
Yeah.
convict or whatnot, right? And so they came, they were really, really good for a long time. So one of them stayed on the right path very, very strongly.
Okay.
The other one was a bit of a roller coaster. We
Okay.
had relapses. And it's quite funny, but this guy that relapses, people just are drug addicts, they should know better, you know drugs are bad for you, why do you still do it? Until talking to them and having really first-hand interaction with people with, drug issues.
Right.
Then you realize problems are not so simple, We're just so quick to judge, to say, yeah, what's wrong with you guys? You know it's bad, you keep going back to it, you just have, no strength, you just no backbone, that kind of thing. But after talking to him, when that first incident happened, right, I didn't scold him. I just sat with him. I cried with him, right? Like, why? They're like my sons, So it's like when they go through this, and then I'm like, why? And then he said, it's just too painful. It's just too painful. And he kept going on. It's just too painful. So slowly you dig that story out of him. So what happened for him was, they at that time probably 18, so still really, really young.
Yeah.
He came from a family where dad passed AIDS to the mom. Okay. So mom gave birth to number 3
Right.
with AIDS and then left them. So abandoned. So he has this abandonment issue with like, why did my dad, as long as the dad is not dead, the dad should still come look for him. So he has this abandonment issue. And then unfortunately,
He was number 3.
he was number 2.
2. Okay. So he didn't have AIDS.
No, he didn't have AIDS.
Okay.
So number 3 had AIDS.
Yeah.
And number 1 was stricken with cancer
Oh my God.
and died in his arms.
Oh my God.
So he has this constant fear now
Yeah.
when number 3 is going to die in his arms.
Yeah.
It's trauma, I suppose,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he has this. So he tells me every morning when I wake up, the first thing that hits me is, when's number 3 gonna die? Because she's on pills, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, and it suddenly hurt me. I'm like, at 40-ish, I don't even know how to deal with this pain.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine, right? If it's like just one kid and the other kid, it's the same pain, right?
Yeah.
How am I going to deal with everybody? When, why I can't afford to buy the drugs anymore? She's
Yeah.
going to go and she's weak. If she falls ill, is this it?
Yeah.
So that's why he says he turns to drugs. At least for that couple of hours, he doesn't feel pain. So it's just, trying to get him through. So basically, he's gone to the army, relapsed one more time since then.
Okay.
But now in the army, I think that's easy for him to keep.
Yeah.
Then the other one who was really, really strong. He was good all the way until he experienced a painful breakup.
Oh, so young love.
Yeah,
and-
young love,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and it was just tough for him. And I suppose when it's tough, you go out drinking with your friends, and if your friends should just offer you something,
Yeah.
slipped. That's when.
But is
things-
he back on track now?
So he is. So what happened was, I didn't want to let him go.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he crossed the line. He brought the drugs in here
Oh my God.
and tried to ask the rest if they wanted to join him, right? And I have to protect the
Yeah.
brute here. So it was a
Yeah.
painful call, but we had to ask him to go. He knew it
Yeah.
because he said, I know, I have to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I don't want you to go, but you have to go.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
one of those decisions you have to make. But yeah, so that's it. But students wise, it's always easy because they don't have issues.
Yeah.
So as long as we keep them, with help them through financially,
Yeah, yeah.
they're usually all right. So we
Yeah.
have seen many graduates here so they come to us in year 1 university. By the time they're done in year 4, that sort of thing, year 3, year 4, and then they move on
Yeah.
in their respective jobs. So that's easy to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's interesting. I mean, it's been a very long journey for you.
It is.
But I think you're on the right path, and I find Chiang Mai, although my driver was saying that, I think she said there are 2 months in the year when there's farmers, there's a lot of haze.
Yes.
But other than that, I think, it's just such beautiful weather. It's just, there's no pollution. It's a very different kind
Laid back.
a very laid back and different life. But yeah, I'm sure it's great, and I wish you luck with
Thank you.
with all that you're kind of striving to achieve. And
We'll just continue plodding on.
Yeah,
And and we will know when the time's up or it's work's not done, and we just continue.
Yeah.
So recently in November, so last month,
Yeah.
we were featured on the Michelin Guide Thailand. So that means our
That's-
food's in the right direction.
Yeah,
Although
Yeah, and it's northern Thai food, right?
as well as the normal Thai food as well.
As
We
well
don't
as the
just
normal.
specialize in northern Thai food. So
Okay.
yes, and seafood. Our main, this is-
Seafood's your main.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And like we were driving through some like a night market, and we saw it probably is a wholesale market, but the vegetables, the fruit, everything looked so fresh. And so our driver was saying that restaurants and people go there at night, and that's where
buy.
they source their ingredients from, and their fruits and vegetables from. So is that what you do as well?
We actually, because daily we have to keep buying vegetables, right?
Yeah,
Keep them
yeah.
fresh. We don't really keep them for long.
Yeah.
So we used to have a staff go out to buy our fruit and vegetables from that market that you were talking about, because it's
Okay.
not far from here.
Yeah.
And they could go out on a motorbike, buy
Yeah,
it back.
yeah.
And that was when our volumes were much smaller.
Okay.
So when our volumes became really big,
Yeah.
you literally need a car.
Yeah.
But if you remember, going through that market is very narrow.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
You're not
Yes.
going to drive a car through there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need those scooter sort of thing with that sidecar.
Yeah.
So we actually pay somebody. So there are people
Okay.
who have these as their jobs. They go to the market to buy on your behalf
Okay.
and then deliver it here. So it's
Okay.
safer for the staff as well. If not, they had to make 2 trips, 3 trips.
Yeah, to
It
go
was not,
back
yes,
and forth.
correct.
Yeah. And what about your seafood?
Our seafood's usually imported because
Okay.
this is the north, so we don't have the sea.
Sea, correct.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we usually import our seafood. So our crabs mainly come from either the south of Thailand or
Okay.
Vietnam,
Okay.
and then our prawns from India or Sri Lanka.
Okay. And how often would you need to do that?
Pretty much quite often. So
Okay.
we usually do small quantities, but more often.
Yeah.
Because we don't keep them
Because
for
it
long.
needs to be fresh.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct. It has to
especially
be
with
fresh.
seafood. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Our crabs are live. I think you saw in the tanks there. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Mm,
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And so, what is your very, very special dish
Here.
at the restaurant, at your restaurant?
We're famous for 2 things, our yellow curry crab,
Okay.
as well as the jumbo prawns, which you guys ate that night.
Yeah,
I
we
think
ate
the
that.
huge
Yeah,
prawns.
yeah.
So those are actually huge, or what we call the giant jumbo river prawns.
Okay.
And these are quite hard to find
Okay.
because they need to be wild caught.
Okay.
If you farm them, they will grow to up to only a certain
Small,
size,
yeah.
but they remain small. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of people eat these prawns for what's in the head. Right,
Correct.
the creamy roll for what's
Yeah,
in the head. So
yeah.
these are the 2 things that we've been,
Known
our
for
signature. Yes,
is your
exactly,
signature.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you promote yourself? Now you're in the Michelin Guide, but other than that,
Usually stories on Facebook, our Facebook page, which is
Okay.
Pakdang, Paakdang.
okay.
We either feature stories on our staff or whatever else
Right,
happens
right.
here at Pakdang or within the family.
Yeah.
We have a website,
Okay.
and I think a lot of marketing would be thanks to people like yourself.
So it's, yeah, and
Who
it's
come and they write a blog, they
Yeah.
like our story,
Yeah.
we have a little chat, and
Yeah,
then they
yeah.
they help us spread the word and support our mission. So that really helps.
Okay,
Yes.
that's good. Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to continue to do
hope
really,
so.
really well. It will. Thank you so much, K-Lin.
Pleasure, Kyle.
And
Pleasure.
yeah, look forward to seeing you again.
Yes. Come by next time you have, time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, this time I was with a bunch of friends. Next time, who knows? Just my husband and me.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll
it's a
see.
beautiful place.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Paya. Thank you very much.
Moving to Chiang Mai was a leap of faith, says K-Lin. It was a lot of fun and absolutely fascinating listening to her share her story with me. She's so open about her life's journey and her calling, which has now become a mission in her and with her to changing lives. You can tell that she was so restless as a banker and wanted to not be in a straitjacket, but give more meaning to her life and to be more grounded. And I like the way she's trying to instill different values in her kids. Her journey is truly inspiring. Pak Dang is her brother and her riverside restaurant with divine northern Thai and normal Thai cuisine. I tried the prawns and the yellow crab curry that she mentions and can totally understand why they are the signature dishes. I'm sure K-Lin will change many lives, and I'm quite confident that her kids will continue with her legacy. Check out their website, pakdang.com. And on your trip to Chiang Mai, do go on and have a meal at Pak Dang. Excited to bring you another conversation from a different part of the world. Until then, this is Payal signing off.